All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Rattle Cage podcast. I am Ryan, joined by always is Sterling. Here we are, Sterling. We made it.
Finally.
We're almost there. I shouldn't say we made it yet because we still have, I guess, tomorrow.
We got
The
one
day
day
with
without cars on track.
Yep, and then Saturday, which I'm actually looking forward to. What is it? The modified race. Bobby Labonte's going to
Yeah.
be in it, and so that should
Yeah.
honestly be a good
That'll
race
probably
too.
be the best race of the weekend, honestly.
You're probably right, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that race. I'll be watching, tuning in, and then yeah, we
You
have
can do
practice.
that now that you have flow.
I can. You're right. So yeah, we got practice qualifying Saturday, and then the heat races Saturday, and then the last chance qualifier on Sunday, and then we got the main event, 200 laps.
Yeah, which
So
I want to say they added like 50 laps or something, didn't they?
yes, they did. Yes, they did. So, yeah, according to what we found, is the heat races is going to be 10 cars apiece, I believe, or right aroundish. Maybe some heat race will have 9 or something like that. But they'll take the top 5 out of each heat, and then then the other cars will go to the last chance qualifier. They'll take 2 out of that, the top 2, which kind of sucks that everybody has to stick around till Sunday, I guess. But at
At
least
least
they get
they're
to.
there in
Yeah,
Charlotte,
yeah,
basically.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of these guys are just driving every day, but yeah. And then Sunday they get a chance to the race again, last chance qualifier. That's 75 laps, and they'll take the top 2. And then, from my understanding, is the highest finisher in points from last year that's not in the show will get another provisional. So we'll have 23 cars then going for 200 laps, not 200 miles. So
Yeah, that'd be a lot of laps there.
yes, it would. So it's a quarter-mile track, no banking at all. So it's basically exactly like the Coliseum, except I
Yeah.
think from what I've been hearing, it's a lot not as wide. I wanted to say thinner, but I
Yeah.
know that's not. But yeah, it's not as
No.
wide as a Coliseum was. But yeah, quarter mile, no banking. So we're going to look at, you know, other tracks similar, and probably, look at Coliseums.
I think that's really, I mean, you can kind of look at Martinsville, but I think you just take those 3 LA races and see what you can out of that.
Yeah. So do you have DraftKings pulled up? The
I have it on
sports
my
book?
phone. Yeah, I don't have the sports book up. I can do that real quick. I
Yeah,
will say
let's
that I looked earlier in the week when you posted them, said they were up, and I did actually put a small bet on Ryan Preece at plus 3,500.
It does suck. I'm kind of not disappointed. I mean, obviously, I know why, but like, it kind of stinks that we don't have. Oh no, we do now. Okay, we have a top 3. You bet on a top 3 now. Um,
Yeah, that's earlier in the week. I almost messed up and made head-to-head parlay that was for the 500, not the Clash. Glad I caught
yeah,
myself before I made that bet.
yeah. I would almost kind of like, bet to make the show or not make the show. I mean, obviously, we know Larson would be like a minus
Yeah,
1,000, but like those would be nice bets. I think like a top 10 bet before qualifying would be. I don't think that would be a lot to ask for, but like, because I mean, you're taking some risk. I mean, your guy might not even make the show, but
yeah.
yeah. So we do have some top 3 bets. So I thought personally right off the bat, I thought here we are. I'm going to put on my RCR hat. I thought Kyle Busch was too far down, honestly.
I definitely agree with that. His top 3 too is plus 320, and pretty sure he had 2 top threes at LA.
Yes,
So
he did. He did. He had a second place in 2024 and a third place in 2023. So
and then I went back through and I watched all 3 of those races, and I can't remember which one it was. I want to say it was last year now that he was the fastest car. It just didn't work out for
yeah.
him.
And then Reddick was super fast there in that 8 car. I mean, Randall Burnett, they really
Yeah,
talk him up as far as being a short track So
that was obviously the very first one Reddick led. He was going to dominate that entire race until they had a mechanical issue. I can't remember
so
the
here's
transaxle.
yeah, I think it was a toe link. That was when that toe link was just starting, and it was junk.
Well, he had an issue under caution. They were getting ready to go
Oh,
back
that's
green
right.
in that very first race. The only reason I remember that is because I just recently went back and watched all of them, and took notes on them.
So here's a name that I'm sure we're gonna bring up here later on, but Justin Haley plus 1,800 for a top three. Like if you want a long shot bet,
He was one of the guys I mentioned that you could potentially bet him outright. He was plus 7,000 when I first seen him,
he's still plus
and
7,000.
it was can't remember if it was the 2022 or the 2023 race that he was one of the fastest cars and looked like he had a legit shot to win it before running into some issues. And
Yeah, I think that was last year. Yeah, so I don't mind those bets right off the bat. I mean, obviously, if you're looking at like a Martinsville, you could bet like a Blaney. I think Gibbs, not Ty Gibbs, but like Gibbs in general, Joe Gibbs Racing, I think is one. I think
I
every
think,
single one of these, because Truex
yeah,
won 1 year, Denny won a year, and I can't remember who won in 2022. But
I was disappointed to see Briscoe's odds because he ran very well there in the SHR cars. And
yes,
now Joe Gibbs, we know they take over when they're at these short flat tracks. So
and
I think
Truex.
Briscoe is going to be huge.
Yes, Truex won here in 2023, and Truex finished ninth in 2024. So yeah, he's had some good runs here. I mean, let's be honest, this is going to be kind of a crapshoot. I want to say. I mean, this is the madhouse. you know, it's going to be beaten and banged. I mean, there's going to be some finesse in here, like who can be, keep their
That
cool
was
and composure. So, but this is gonna be bumper cars, kind of ordeal. So,
yeah, and
what were you gonna say, Starling?
that was one thing that really stuck out when I was rewatching all these is when you get that main feature lineup, you're going to kind of want to look, and it's going to be hard to, but try to look who's 2 or 3 rows behind the guys you're picking because they're going to be the ones stacking up, and it's just going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that third or fourth car up front is going to be the car that gets spun.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So I think my favorite bets is, I mean, if you just want to bet top three and bet safe, I think Kyle Busch. I think top three bet. I think Ty Gibbs would be a safe top three bet. Um, And then, I mean, I don't mind Haley as a long shot. Is there anybody else that sticks out to you? We don't have to sit here and name 10 guys like like I normally do. But is there anybody outside of that you would call a safe bet or call a long shot?
no, not really anything that really hops out at me. But when you're on a short flat track, even though he has not done well at LA, I think you got to mention Todd Gilliland plus
Yeah,
2,500 for a top three. It's all going to
yeah,
come down to his practice and qualifying and heat race. But if he's
yes,
up there, I think he will stay up there.
yeah. And I mean, we got to mention Logano. I mean, you said it on our last show. I mean, anytime you go somewhere new or have something new, you have to mention Joey Logano. I mean, Paul Wolf is as much as you want to, not you personally, but like as much as me or anybody else
Yeah.
wants to shit on Joey Logano and Paul Wolf. I mean, they are smart and they catch on to shit quick.
Yeah, I used to be a Logano hater. I'm starting to come around a little bit.
Yeah, he does figure shit out fast, and I mean, he is good. I mean, so that would be probably a good safe one. Christopher Bell, if you're
He
gonna buy,
really has struggled though at LA. Like
yeah, that's
originally,
what
I thought he was going to be like a solid bet, safe play and whatnot. But then looking into it, he did not have any success really.
No, he didn't, and that's that's the thing. Like short flat tracks, Christopher Bell. You think of him because you think of where did he dominate at? Gateway, New Hampshire, Phoenix. But yeah, I mean, it just for some odd reason hasn't translated to the Coliseum. So whether that translates here, I don't. That'll be time will tell. So you want to get into some DFS picks, some DFS talks?
Yeah, I think first we should start off talking about the former optimal lineups between last year and the year before.
Yeah, and actually, there's two names here, Tim Brown and was it Burt Myers?
Yeah.
So
the thing about Burt Myers, go ahead.
Is Tim Brown? He's the one driving for Rick Ware, right?
Yeah, he's been employed by Rick Ware for over 10 years, probably closer to 20 years. He actually he actually ran a 2009 Martinsville truck race in a Rick Ware truck.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
He started 27th or 26th and finished 27th.
Okay, so he is multiple-time track champion, if I read that right.
He just got his 100th win last season, I believe, at Bowman Gray. Okay. So he definitely knows his way around that track.
Yeah. So Burt Myers, this is a guy I didn't do my research on. Who's he going to race for? I forget.
See, this is where it really sucks. Is he's going to be in that number 50. I can't even think what the hell the name of it is now. It's Mayweather's team that they keep renaming, but
basically
we never see that car do. Yeah, that car never does anything. I was hoping they would get some help from somebody. I couldn't find anything.
Amerivet's the name of the team now. Yeah, I mean
the fourth team name. Like
I was reading that was like a tax write-off team or something like that. Like basically they're just out there for a tax write-off. So yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Just judging off that. Obviously, this is pre-qualified, pre-practice. Tim Brown, I'd be a little bit in on. We'll see how he does. But Burt Myers,
he'll be the most aggressive out there, I bet.
Yeah, and these two have a rivalry, from what I hear.
Yeah, that goes back forever, back to the TV show, The Madhouse.
I've heard that. So that'll be kind of interesting. That's kind of cool. They got some local guys in there to mix it up a little bit. Now we're turning into SRX a little bit,
Yeah.
No, that was cool when SRX did that for like that one race where that local guy won, but then they kind of went away from that for some reason.
They still made it a point to do it every week, but it was at Stafford, I believe, that the local guy actually put on a show.
Yeah. All right, so and then let's talk about past optimal lineups.
The first thing I want to point out before we start talking about this is the fact that we are going to get an extra 50 laps, so that adds quite a bit of extra points, like 25-ish just for fastest laps that could be out there, and then roughly like 12 and a half for laps led. But last year we had Denny Hamlin in the optimal, started on the pole, led a lot of that race, ended up winning that race. And then we had Ty Gibbs, who started third. He actually led a lot of that and was probably the best car in that race. Got some issues there towards the end, but he ended up finishing 18th. But he had like 14, 15 speedster points, so he was still able to make his way into the optimal lineup. So that leaves us, there was two guys in the optimal lineup that started inside the top three last year. But then outside of that, there was three guys that came from that LCQ to make the optimal lineup. So 21st, 22nd, and 23rd place starters all worked their way up inside the top 10 to be in the optimal lineup. And I don't think we see that this year. This track's a lot more narrow. And I don't know. It's going to be a parade, honestly, a semi-high speed parade.
Yeah, I honestly think like if you have a guy up at the top like Kyle Larson or something like that that qualifies on the pole, I think I'm going to build this like a Bristol at that
Oh,
time that he.
absolutely. Like,
Yeah,
this is a race that if you can play 6 drivers starting inside the top 10, I'm doing it.
yeah,
That might
yeah.
end up being my main lineup. And as long as they don't get punted, you're gonna cash because no one is gonna be able to pass.
Yeah, and I mean, we were kind of talking about that pre-show. The last chance qualifier starts at 6, and like we said, they're taking the top 2, and then they're taking one provisional, the highest in the point standings from the previous year that didn't make the show. So, but the bad thing is, I don't know how much of a time we're going to have between when that race ends and the main event starts. So you might have to like, for somebody like me that hand builds 20 lineups or so, I might be crunched. So like I might build lineups, and then if I absolutely want to play somebody, which might be a way to get different because a lot of people might be thinking the same thing, and maybe they don't play anybody from the last chance qualifier. But yeah, I mean you're going to be possibly crunched for time. We don't really have, you know what I mean? Like we don't have a definite amount of time that we're going to have between segments. So that kind of
Yeah.
stinks.
Yeah, and while we're on that, do you think we're gonna end up doing their breakdown show Saturday night or Sunday morning? Try to give
We could probably try for it Saturday night.
uh,
So yeah, I got to work, and then yeah, I got to work Sundays. So
oh shit. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, we'll do it Saturday night, or maybe if you want to jump on with somebody Sunday, that's up to you. So,
All right.
but so yeah, we'll talk about it. But yeah, so either Saturday night or Sunday, we'll have a driver by driver breakdown. Who we like, who we don't like. We'll kind of talk about the heat races. Probably we'll talk about practice qualifying, and we'll go from there. So let's get into some DraftKings picks. We got 3 drivers in the 10K: Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin. Any interest? I mean, obviously, pre-qualifying, pre-practice. This is just based on how they've been running. Coliseum, Phoenix, places like that, Martinsville.
Yeah, I think out of that group, it kind of sucks, but you got to go with the obvious Kyle Larson, like
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Christopher, like
this dude's been hot. I mean, I
yeah,
mean, one thing you don't want is a red hot Kyle Larson. And I mean, he just won the Chili Bowl. I mean, he's out there running other dirt races and winning them. I mean, that
yeah.
Tulsa shootout, that was. I mean, he didn't win it, but that was a hell of a
He
race.
got 2 drillers at the shootout, and then a damn near a third one there against Bell in the main race.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So, I mean, he is red hot. I mean, like I said, if he qualifies first or second, it's going to be hard not to lock him in there.
see, it's kind of weird how they're doing the heat lineups and qualifying because they're going to get 3 8-minute practice sessions broken down into 3 practice groups, and then their final practice session is going to basically be like a round robin qualifying. So
Okay.
all those cars are going to be on the track at the same time, but they're going to be trying to put down qualifying laps, which I think
Okay.
is kind of shitty. Like, I would have rather seen them just move that up a little bit and do an actual qualifying run. But
Yeah.
what do
So
I know?
I personally, and I hate to, like you said, be obvious or whatever, but I think out of the 10K guys, I think they are ranked in order of my,
Yeah.
my preference. I think Kyle
Yeah.
Larson would be the
And
one I lock in. Christopher Bell, I have a little bit of interest in, and Denny Hamlin. Oh,
I
this
think he
this new
struggles,
this new crew chief scares me.
especially going into something like this. No idea how
Yep.
to set up for it. No idea what each other wants or expects. I think there's a chance Denny Hamlin might have to either use the provisional if he's in position to or not make the race.
Yeah, and if he's got to
It's
use a
kind of a hot
provisional,
take, but
he might be chalk, which might be a way to get different.
Yeah, I could see it because I don't think you're going to want anybody starting outside like their top
No,
15.
you're gonna get lapped quick, and it's gonna be
That's
hard as hell to
speaking of
pass.
that. It would take the leaders roughly 13 laps to catch the tail of the field in the
Okay.
previous 3 LA
Okay.
races. So
No, that's good to know. So, and caution laps do not count here. That's another thing to point out. Caution laps do not count. So we will get a full 200 green flag laps for speedster points. So that's another good thing to point out there. But so 9K guys, we got Blaney, Logano, Byron, Briscoe, Elliott, Gibbs. So anybody there. Obviously, we talked about Blaney. We talked about Logano. Byron, I don't think has really ran good. He finished 10th in 2023 and 10th in 2024. So that's
the
not good. So,
thing that was weird about Byron, he has not ran well there, but at the same time, he has ran well there because he hasn't ran a lap outside of the top 10. Like
okay.
he's always been in the top 10 every lap at the
That's
LA
interesting.
race, except for the last one. There was some mix up that's forced him to the back, but I'm not a big fan of playing him when he's in
No.
that group with Logano and Blaney. Blaney was one of the fastest at LA, and Logano is Logano. That's probably the number one guy you think of, in my opinion, when you think of short flat tracks.
Yeah. And you mentioned Briscoe about how kind of cheap, or not cheap, how we're disappointed on his price because, I mean, he is priced up there, but Truex ran good here and he's ran good here, so surely that translates. I would be a little bit in on him. Chase Elliott, uh, I don't think I know. I don't think I have really any interest in Chase Elliott at that price.
No, I mean, it's going to depend on where he starts. Like, you're going to want the pole sitter. There's just no way
Yes.
around it. I don't care
Yeah.
who that pole sitter is. If that pole sitter's Tim Brown or Burt Myers, I'm playing him. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Chase Elliott, 22nd in 2024. Where did he finish in 2023? 21st. So yeah, he's finished outside the top 20 in both clash races. I just don't think he's aggressive enough. I mean, let's face it, he's one of the most boring, most popular drivers. Uh Ty Gibbs. I mean, we kind of touched on him. He's ran really good here. He's led
he should have
laps.
won
Not
this
not
race
here.
last year. Well,
Not here, but
the
at
identical track. Like,
yes, the LA Coliseum. If I refer to here, I'm meaning the LA Coliseum, but he should have won. What do you lead 87 laps or something like that?
I would have to go back and look, but he
Yeah,
led a lot. And when he
he
was
did.
leading, there's no one was touching him. He had like 2 or 3 second lead every restart, like immediately.
And here's the thing to remember. Chris Gabehart. We're sitting here talking about Denny Hamlin taking a step back because Chris Gabehart's leaving. Chris Gabehart's now like basically everybody's crew chief. So that might help Ty Gibbs. I mean, maybe, you know, it, maybe, I think this might be the year where Ty Gibbs, no more sophomore slump. He's kind of, this is it for him. So I think Ty Gibbs at 9,000 might be one of my favorite ish plays, depending on where everybody starts. But just right
Yeah.
off the bat, I think that's my favorite.
Yeah. I'm afraid to really call anyone my favorite right now, but I
Right.
definitely see what you mean. Agree. Like, he's going to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
in contention for sure.
8,000. We got Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, and Chris Buescher. Kyle Busch, like I said, I like him as far as a top 3 bet, so I like him. Reddick, I don't think he runs good at flat tracks. I know
Not really. He
Martinsville.
did run
No.
well in the first LA race. Like he was going to dominate that race till they had mechanical issues, but
Oh, that's right. With
it's
Randall Burnett, we did just talk about that.
it's still not the style of track you think of when you think Tyler Reddick.
Right. So that might kind of. I don't know if
But
I'm
we
really
have
high
seen
on him.
him really adapt to the road courses and whatnot. So I feel like these flat, tight corners kind of translate to that.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I mean we got some guys lower price that I think might kind of be more in play than people really think.
I think I
So
know pretty much exactly where you're going with this.
yeah, you're the one. I don't remember the race, but you're like, yeah. I mean, these short flat tracks, road course ringers, kind of do run good here. So that got me thinking about one guy here as a great pivot off of Justin Haley because I'm sure Justin Haley's going to be chalkier than hell. But Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, I don't really got much to say about either one of them. I think they'll just be
No,
okay.
you could make that same argument for Busher that he has ran well on road courses, but it's really going to come down to the heat races. The heat races are going to be very important, not just in terms of starting or setting a starting lineup, but in terms of being able to watch it and see how these cars actually running on this track.
Yeah, yeah. Then in the 7K, guys, is there anybody you want to talk about in the 7K? I mean, Ryan Preece, we know Ryan Preece is going to be probably good here.
It's
Any,
I just think obviously Ryan Preece, I mentioned that earlier, and then you got to throw out Josh Berry for the simple
yep,
fact that this is the type of tracks that he came from. Now everyone has came from that, but he's been more recent.
yeah. And I think we were talking pre-show, or maybe this was the betting section. I mean, Austin Dillon. I don't know if last year or 2023 was a fluke, and 2024 he didn't make the show in 2024. Um, but I mean, Richmond, we saw some speed. I mean, I know, I don't know. Phoenix is one of his better tracks. He did finish second. I'm not like gonna sit here and toot the RCR horn, but I think he's got to be a little bit in play.
I mean, I don't want to say anything about Austin Dillon just yet. Wait and see where he qualifies.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Anybody else in the 7K that really sticks out to you? Or you want to,
Nah, we can hop down to the 6K.
6K range? We got Suarez, Custer, Justin Haley, AJ Allmendinger, Carson Hocevar, Michael McDowell, Tim Brown, Eric Jones, and SVG.
I'm going to start off with Michael McDowell and say
Okay.
that he is. You take him out of your player pool right now. I bet you
Oh yeah.
across. Yeah, I originally thought he would actually be a possibly a good play, but going back and watching those 3 LA races,
Ooh, yeah.
it's
24th and 19th the last 2 years I have.
and I between 3 races, I bet he caused 10 cautions, like
Mm,
legit. Like he was absolute trash,
okay.
just
All right.
overdriving everything.
So take Michael McDowell out. We're not playing him. He could start dead last. He'll be one of the last chance qualifiers. Sterling says we're not playing him. I looked at the results, 24th and 19th. There's nothing there that makes me want to even remotely play him at all. So the guy I wanted to talk about, how about AJ Allmendinger?
I figured that's where you were going. He could be
Yeah,
interesting. I feel like he's one of the more aggressive guys in the field. So
yeah.
if he thinks he's got a shot, he's going to be moving some people.
Yeah, because I mean, sitting here thinking about okay, Justin Haley's got Rodney Childress. He's and where's he at? Spire now. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I just think he's going to be chalk. Everybody's going to be playing Justin Haley. I just think AJ Allmendinger is a great pivot there. I mean, what more could you say? I mean, you said it. Road courses. You're trying to find speed on flat corners. that fits Allmendinger. I mean, he's a little bit aggressive, wears his heart on his sleeve. You know, if he feels like he's going to get a chance to win, he's gonna try it.
Yeah, and then I think you could make about the same argument for SVG. Don't really have to
Yeah.
go too deep into it, but I feel like you got to throw out Carson Hocevar just for the simple fact of how
Yep.
aggressive he is. Like, you know that he's not afraid to put the bumper to somebody, and I feel like he's going to be one of the few that actually do that this weekend. I think everyone else is just kind of playing along, just get this weekend over with, and let's get to Daytona.
Yeah, exactly. So those are my picks in the 6K range. I don't know if you want to talk about anybody else. Obviously, Justin Haley's going to be in play, but I feel like he's going to be probably one of the higher owned guys. My pivots, Allmendinger. You like Hocevar. I like Hocevar as well. Michael McDowell, we're crossing out. Tim Brown. Um, we'll wait and see there.
If he
SVG
makes the
possibly.
show, I think Tim Brown is going to be a hell of a play because he's going to be going for it.
Yeah.
And he's the guy in the garage at Rick Ware Racing, so he'll be the one fixing whatever he trashes, and he's not afraid to do that. So,
Yep. All right. So now we're going down into the 5K range. We got Gillen, Stenhouse, Riley Herbst, John Hunter Nemechek, Zane Smith, Burt Myers, Ty Dillon, Cody Ware, and Garrett Smithley.
honestly, I think really the only guy worth even talking about is Todd Gillen. We kind of already mentioned that he's good on short flat tracks. He hasn't been that good on them in the Cup Series, but that is what he was known for in the Truck Series. And then you could kind of mention Ricky Stenhouse because he ran okay in the LA races. He was a little over aggressive, which is what you get out of Stenhouse. That could be what you want this week, but honestly, I'm probably not playing the 5K range.
No, I'm not either. I think with the pricing, I think you can get away with not playing the 5K. What about John Hunter Nemechek?
I can't do it. I mean, if he's in a perfect spot, like
Yeah.
top 10, I think maybe he can hold on to it, and at that point, it would be worth it, but
Yeah.
I doubt it.
I think that's about all I'm interested in this 5K, like you said, is Stenhouse, Gilliland, and possibly John Hunter. That's about it. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, basically builds as of now. I mean, like you said, I'm going to stuff as many probably in the top 10. I'm probably going to stay away from the last chance qualifiers unless something really sticks out to me because like you said earlier, it's 13 laps. The leader's going to catch the back of the field. They're going to get lapped, and it's going to be hard to pass.
Yeah, this track is like 2.5 car widths wide, like maybe
Yeah.
3 car. It is not a very wide track. So it's going to be a
So
very weird race. And since NASCAR has their 25-year contract with Bowman Gray, I'm curious as to how long this lasts. Surely they don't stretch it out more than a couple years because this is going to be a shit show.
yeah, or I mean, hopefully they do something with the cars or something to make them a little bit better on short tracks or something like
Keep
that.
dreaming. That ain't fucking happening. They
Yeah,
think
I
this
know.
car's great.
Yeah, I know. That now they're talking about changing the Xfinity cars to them or some
They
shit.
do that. I'm starting to fucking riot.
I saw that news thing come up, and I
Oh,
was like, "Good lord,
that
what are we doing?"
that scares me. I don't want to see that because that is hands down the best NASCAR series right now.
Oh, it is. It is hands down. So, but yeah, that's all we got, guys. We just wanted to preview this a little bit. Just shout out some drivers.
Speaking of shout outs, though, we did
Yep.
once again got to mention the fact that we did partner with Pierce Dietrich at racefortheprize.com. You can get on there and subscribe for the whole year for $250 or monthly and pay, I believe it's 30. It might be 40 per month.
Okay.
But you get track history for each driver in all 3 series. You'll get practice data, lap by lap for
That's
all
that's
three
that's
series.
really nice. I love that feature.
That's huge. And then you
That's
can go
huge.
back,
Yes.
you can look at previous optimals for each track we go to, each race we go to. Like, it is very well worth it. There's
Yes.
sites out there that charge double that and give you half the content. So
Yep. Yeah, and check out his podcast too, Race for the Prize. I think is
yeah,
I can't remember what his podcast
it might
name
be
is, but
Fantasy NASCAR podcast on YouTube.
yeah, I think you're right. But I mean, they're great. I mean, they're 20, 25 minutes long. I just like just sifting through his data. He's very analytical. He's got a lot of data there you can kind of digest. So I definitely like listening to him. You guys got to go out and check him out. Subscribe to that. I mean, we're excited to partner with him. So, and we got a shout out to Discord. We have a Rattled Cage Discord. It's popping. I mean, it will be popping here, I'm sure. It's been, obviously not racing season, so not much to talk about, but we got a lot of sharp minds in there. We got, Sterling, we got Cam Fan, we got, Ben, Brad. All these guys have taken down some GPPs, and, they're sitting there sharing their knowledge, and they'll help anybody. So if you're a novice or even if you're experienced and you want some, want to talk shop with some great minds, come on over. We'll post the Discord link in the comments here and join up. It's free. What do you got to lose?
Yeah.
So, but I think that's all we got, Sterling. So we will hopefully do a
Be
driver by
back
driver
Saturday
breakdown.
night.
Yep, and we will see you guys Saturday night, and we'll have cars on the track. So,
Oh yeah.
all right, see you guys later.